Election season is in full swing, and the Democratic and Republican candidates have not exactly been shy about what they think about each other.
Donald Trump's ideas aren't just different, they are dangerously incoherent.
Anything Obama wants, she's going forward with, because you know why? She doesn't want to go to jail. That's why, folks.
But while these candidates go mano a mano, they might want to keep their eyes and ears open because there are third-party candidates who also have their eyes set on the Oval Office, and things could get interesting. Recent polls have shown that in this election cycle, up to 47% of Americans would consider a third-party presidential candidate.
They don't have to vote for Democrats or Republicans. I don't.
But regardless, other people think
it's crazy talk.
They think that voting for anybody other than Hillary or the Donald is a throwaway vote. But more votes for fringe candidates could make a pretty huge difference in our political system. Lots of people argue that the two-party system only gives people access to two viewpoints. What's so democratic about that? Third parties can offer new viewpoints, ideas, and solutions, things that seem pretty important for a democracy to thrive. But there are some pretty serious hoops that a third-party candidate has to jump through in order to be a contender for the presidency. First off, candidates have to qualify just to be on the ballot in each of the 50 states. Now, each state does this a little differently. A lot of states look at past elections, so if a party did not get 5% of the popular vote in the previous election, they're often left off the ballot for the next election. Other states allow candidates to petition to be on the ballot, but as you can imagine, parties require a lot of manpower and money to be able to petition each state. Secondly, third-party candidates have to reach 15% in national polls in order to qualify for presidential debates. This could be huge for a fringe candidate. Not only could they get a whole lot more eyes on their campaign, but voters could easily see how they stack up against other candidates on that stage. And third comes funding. If a candidate receives 5% of the national vote in November, that party's candidate the next election cycle is eligible for the Presidential Election Campaign Fund grant. This money could be game-changing for a third party. Now, the amount of money received through this grant depends on the ratio between how many votes their candidate got the previous election cycle versus the average popular vote. Sure, it may be true that no third-party candidate has ever won the presidency, but a lot of these folks have left their mark on our political system. As a matter of fact, the most successful third-party run for president was in 1912, when Teddy Roosevelt was the Progressive Party's nominee and got 27% of the popular vote. In 1968, George Wallace won over 13% of the vote while running with the American Independent Party. And more recently, Ralph Nader has become one of the most well-known third-party candidates in politics. He earned 2.7% of the popular vote in 2000, successfully opening up ballot access to the Green Party in many new states. This year, fringe candidates are looking to make waves. Jill Stein and Gary Johnson are two of these candidates, and they're hoping that they can make their party platforms known at a time when voters are looking for more options. Jill Stein is the Green Party candidate, and Gary Johnson is the Libertarian Party candidate. Both were their party's presidential nominee in 2012, and while they didn't see a huge return when voters went to the polls, they're hoping that 2016 is different. Could this be the year of the third-party candidate? Crazier things have happened so far. If you like this video and want more, share it, like our page, and subscribe to our channel.